Darren Miller. It is June 23rd, 2007, and we are interviewing Alma Steeg. And we will start now.
Okay.
So we'll start out. Where were you born?
I was born at St. Agnes Hospital on South Broad Street of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And I was born February 1918, which was 9 months before World War I ended. And my parents had been married a little more than a year. He wanted so much to go into that war. He was turned down because of his eyes, so I think he turned around and got married. But anyway, that's the way it was in those days.
And what was your childhood like during that time period?
Well, you mean after I was aware and we grew up, we lived in South Philadelphia, and my mother and father and myself and I had a sister in a couple of years, Catherine. And then Catherine and I, of course, were pretty close. And we went, we had this, in those days, everything was like little neighborhoods where all the houses, we had 5 houses and then an airway and then 5 houses, and we had nice backyards. And it's way down near the Navy Yard. So we walked we used to go to we started the public school, but I went to the Catholic school, Epiphany, which was about a mile away. And my mother's friend had 2 children and we walked to school every day. And sometimes there was snow. And then, of course, I had another sister come. And then when I was in the 8th grade, another sister came. My poor father was an athlete, and he kept wishing for a boy, and he kept getting a girl. So we had the 4 girls, and we all went to school together. And when time came for high school, well, before high school, I had another sister when I was in the 8th grade. And then I went to West Philadelphia Catholic Girls High School in Philadelphia. And after I finished, I had taken an academic course, and so I really didn't know what I was going to do. And a girl next door to me was very eager to go to nursing school. And we were taking a walk down at the Navy Yard, near the Navy Yard, the Navy Hospital, and 2 nurses said, you just have to go and sign up. So we went to 3 hospitals to sign up, and I was accepted, and Florence wasn't. And that was a Temple University hospital in Philadelphia. I graduated as an RN in 1940 and worked in New Jersey, and then I signed up for the Army. At that time, and I don't remember what they called it, it was in 1941, they were putting out a message to all the people to volunteer a year service, whatever you did, because there was a war going on in Europe, and we weren't in it, but everybody else was, and we were helping them, you know, the history of it all. So a few friends of mine and I volunteered, and that was in September. In December, war was declared. So I was in, shall I go on and on?
Yes, keep going.
So I was in World War II, and as an Army nurse, and they took us in as lieutenants, but it was the United States Army Nurse Corps. And we waited in New York for the ship, and we went over in convoy, 5 ships, battleships and different ships, over to Australia. And we went zigzag. So it took 1 month from San Francisco to, not San Francisco, from New York, excuse me, to Australia. I say not San Francisco because we left New York, came down. Now, I've never been not in any place, you know, in those days, down all the Atlantic coast, through the canal, and then out into the Pacific. And then we zigzagged across and got into Australia. And of course, as I said, the war was declared. And I spent 6 months in New Guinea. We were a station hospital. And that's where I met my husband after we were in New Guinea and we came back. I met my husband and we got married in Sydney, Australia.
Was that your first love?
Well, I guess so. I don't know. In those days, I liked boys, and we went on dates and everything, but I never had a love. I don't remember in my neighborhood a couple of guys, I'd think that was nice, and I'd go to the movies with them, and then I didn't want anybody to see me. I was ashamed. About 12 or 13,
Oh, okay.
In those days, the girls made fun of you if you had a boyfriend.
Oh,
We had very different from today, and they'd make little sing-songs and so forth about it. So then, you have a question stick in there?
Anything more about your experience in New Guinea?
Well, the hospital was bombed. Well, I was there. When we were there, of course, New Guinea is tropical, very, very hot. And I worked sometimes nights, all night. And when we had to sleep in the daytime, it was not easy. So they had these huts with just the thatch roofs, no walls, and they'd get sheets. We have cots all lined up. We'd get wet sheets and put them over us so that we could go to sleep, because otherwise the perspiration would be impossible to get rid of because there wasn't any breeze or anything at that time. And then it's beautiful up there. And one time, we took trips. A group of us were taken into the mountains and were shown ammunition and how they transported it and so forth. And all the natives, and we were at Port Moresby, where they were kind of building up with little restaurants and all for the personnel. And then and we came there by hospital ship from Australia, so that we went right over the great reefs, the great reefs around there. And and then one day while we were in the hospital, here comes the big old plane with the rising suns on, and dropped bombs all over, and everybody was so frightened. We had trenches dug. Every place there were trenches dug, and people were supposed to jump into them. And every time I went to a trench, it was full of people. I said, "How could? Come on, get in!" I can't jump on top of people. And then I'd go to find another trench, and somebody dragged me in. But that was about it. And came back and finished the rest of Australia when I got married. I got married at St. Mary's, and I was doing all right. You have to get special permission because I did not marry an officer. And after I got permission, in a little while, I got pregnant and got sent home. And that's when I said, that was the end of that. I came home. My husband's, home is in Idaho. And here I've been in Idaho, Philadelphia, and New Jersey all my life. So
you end up to Florida then.
And except there, I had all by myself. I came home for Thanksgiving, and I wrote to my husband. He came back to Philadelphia for the birth, but he went back, and I said, maybe I could come after Christmas. He said, you better come before Christmas. You were here Thanksgiving. By that time, I wanted to stay home. And I was about 27, 28 at that time. So we were very young for our ages. I was, anyway. I was kind of naive. A lot of people were. I lived out there for 5 years and had some more children. Came back to Philadelphia. And my husband was working for Westinghouse, and it moved. And he didn't want to go into Kansas or someplace, so we came to Florida and made our home here. And I've lived here over 50 years. Excuse me. They know I'm ill. I can wind up if you want to. Oh, I had 7 children altogether, and some are married, some are not. We won't go into all those details, but now I have the 7 children, 8 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. Wow. And I just feel their love around me, especially now. You know, I'm sick, and the doctor didn't. He gave me a very short time. My death will be imminent. It won't, because I'm 89 years old now. I was thinking I'd have a party on my 90th, but I don't know. Maybe a party won't be here. But I'm doing pretty good. As long as I mentally keep alert, that's good. Now, I know I missed a lot of things because I've had lots of little experiences like you all did when you had friends and you would go on little trips and things, you know, between work, overseas and so forth. But let's see, what else happened? Well, the children, we struggled. We all struggled pretty hard, but most every one of them went to at least junior college. And one of the girls here that helps me so much got her master's. So, you know, we did all right so that where we had a peaceful life anyway. Well, I shouldn't say peaceful either, because actually nobody knows. But a lot of people I meet say, "Oh, I heard about the Van der Steeg boys before I ever met them." They had a bad reputation for fighting at the drop of a hat. But now they're all in their 60s, and they're not as well as I was, I don't think. Their dad died 11 years ago, and he was not well for a long time. And I didn't tell you that I worked. I say we struggled. I worked at MacDill Air Force Base as a nurse, and I had angels. I always think I have angels that tell me what to do, when to do it, like when I went into the service even. But when I came down to Florida, it was my idea. And when I was in Florida, I went to Tampa General, worked 1 or 2 days, and I hated it. And I was in the drugstore once, and the girl came in, and she talked to me. She was from Canada, and I told her I didn't like it there. She was another nurse, and she told me to go on the base and put my name in. I did. And then we moved over to St. Petersburg, and I worked at St. Anthony's for a while, and then they called me. And I worked at MacDill for 16 years, which was very, very good for me. And then I retired, and I had the last 10 years have really been quite a bit. And I'm very close to my church. I have lots of friends there. Is it going all right? Yeah, I'm probably going on one. And I'll tell you, I didn't talk so much until I got sick. But I want to tell everybody, because they're here, and I love all of them. They know that. They've been here this last week. I think every one of them have been here at one time. And my 2 sisters have been here before when I was just a little bit not feeling well. And my youngest sister's supposed to come in 2 weeks, and I hope I can hang in there. But here I am. I think I'm at the end of my life. I've always liked people. I don't think and I never think anybody disliked me. They may not have enjoyed me, I think the best thing in life is loving one another. And I've just enjoyed every bit of it.
And what message would you like to leave for your family members?
That's the main thing. Love one another. None of us are perfect, but we always have, and I know at the last minute, they help one another if they're in trouble. And I hope that my one son has got cancer, Garrett, and I hope that he takes his surgery. He's going to have surgery in 2 weeks, and I hope it isn't too painful and he's successful. And and that's the main thing. I think be honest with people. You don't have to be brash. You don't have to tell them what you think. But if you have to be honest, that doesn't mean everything in your mind has to pour out, you know, and love one another. And I think we'd be better off. That's about it. I guess there's a lot more I could say, but I did pretty well under the circumstances. This wasn't a good day. When I came in. And, you know, the children are so good to me, you know, getting me all perked up and trying to make me look better. And I have lots of things, so thanks a lot. I think this is a good idea.
This is an amazing experience for me, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
That was a great video.
Is that the timing? To mention our unit, which is 153rd Papuan Forces, U.S. Army. The courage, the spirit, the devotion to duty, and the complete victory of duty. The courage, the spirit, and devotion to duty, and all elements of the command made possible the complete victory attained. That's the only thing. That's from New Guinea, and that was my friend. I never saw her after I went home, but she called me on the phone, and one day she died. You know, she was older than I am. I know it sounds, you know, everybody says my church, but I got a medal for my activities. It's called the St. Jude Medal. I should have brought that. It was a great big heavy medal that the bishop, if you live in St. Petersburg, you know Bishop Lynch is always doing something. And our church just got fixed up, because this is the church. And this is, what is this? Oh, the oil? No. I don't know what this is, something of the church.
Is it on the back?
Well, this is my husband and myself and my niece. And this is in Idaho. See, my husband was in Idaho. We were visiting. That's about the only, not many good pictures of my husband. He didn't like his picture taken. Can you see it?
Yes, that's good.
That's a good one. And then, of course, this one gives you some idea. We had a T-shirt made for the family, because the John Van de Steegs came from Holland in the, I don't know what, 1700s, I guess, and had a department store. So they printed a department store on the shirt, and that gives you some idea. Part of the family, my grandchildren are little, those little ones. They've grown up now and had their own children. And this is nice. I belong to all the clubs in the church, and I belong to the St. Petersburg Women's Club, and I belong to the Preservation Club, and I did artwork. I forgot to tell you that. We were going to bring some pictures that I made, but I did it for my own satisfaction. Although the St. Petersburg Women's Club had an art display, and then it was I got first place, and then I went district, got first place. So I did paint. And I painted acrylics and oil, and so I, you know, had fun at doing that. Forgot all about it. You know, so you can wind it up. I don't remember now, unless you have a question.
No, that was good. We'll just edit that into it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it seems like it was just an addition in the wrong place. So now what happens? Well, I guess I should say goodbye. It's hard, though, because I'll be with you all the time as I can. That's it.
That's good.
No more crying.